This story takes place in West Virginia. I was 15 years old. My brother and I went every summer to visit my grandparents, who lived on a secluded property with trees as far as the eye could see. As we settled in our room, the first thing I did was stare out the big bay window that let us see high above the tree line. I took a moment to enjoy the scenery. My brother asked, "Are we still going to explore?" I told him, "Yeah, later. Let's wait till the sun goes down a bit." It was only about 2 o'clock and still very hot. My grandmother called us down to eat dinner at about 5 o'clock, and we asked if we could go outside afterward. My grandma telling us, "As long as you finish up first, I don't see why not." So by 6:30, we were on our way. My grandpa told us, "Don't go too far out, boys. We don't need you getting lost." We obliged. As we started on the path into the woods, my brother was about 10 feet ahead of me. He suddenly stopped and I crashed into his back. I said, "Why are you stopping?" He said, "Do you hear that?" I said, "I didn't hear anything." He said, "Shh." I took a closer listen. It sounded like murmuring or very low whispers between multiple people. I yelled out, "Is anyone there? This is a private property," trying to make my voice sound more intimidating. The whispers immediately stopped. I told my brother, "It's getting dark, let's head back." He said, "Yeah," clearly shaken up. As we made it back, I started to feel like we were being watched, speed walking. My brother right in front of me. I started hearing rustling on the right side of the path. When I looked, I thought I saw a head peering around the corner of a tree. My heart sank. I said, "Run," both of us taking off full speed back to the house. When we got there, I had a sense of relief. We told our grandparents right away everything we encountered. My grandma tried to calm us down, saying, "Oh, it's just the woods sometimes when you are out there too long. It seems like nature starts to talk to you." Still worried, I said, "What if someone is out there?" My grandpa chimed in and said, "You boys have nothing to worry about. If anyone tries anything, they'll answer to my hunting rifle." My grandparents' reassurance calmed my brother and me down. The rest of the night was pretty normal, my grandparents going into their room at about 8:30 and us playing video games in our room. At around 11 o'clock, I started getting tired. I said I was going to sleep, passing out for what seemed like 5 minutes, then waking up to my brother shaking me. I said, "What?" Groggily waking up, he said, "Be quiet," holding his finger over his mouth. Listen. Still waking up, I started to hear what sounded like a faint chanting noise. Looking at the clock, 1 a.m. I told my brother to turn out the lights, opening the curtain to the bay window. I could see a very dim light coming from the woods. My brother whispered, "I'm scared." I said, "Let's go get Grandpa." Waking both my grandparents up, I whispered, "You need to see this." Both coming to our room, my grandma asking what time it was. They looked out the window, my grandpa saying, "What the hell?" angrily walking back to his room. "Call the police station." My grandmother hurriedly followed behind. I could hear my grandpa getting his boots on and getting his rifle. My grandma said, "Let's wait for the police." He told her to stay with the kids. Going down the stairs and out the back door. We could see him from the window. He yelled, "You're on private property." The chanting went dead silent all at once. My grandpa yelled again, "The police are on their way." A gunshot echoed through the woods. My grandma and my brother both crying now, as she is on the line with the police. Me still looking out the window, heart beating and on the verge of tears. I started seeing shadows or outlines of people. I screamed, "Grandpa, right there," looking at about 6 silhouettes. I took off running downstairs, trying to give a warning to my grandpa and my grandma screaming for me. As I made it to the back door, I heard another shot, then saw my grandpa rush inside, locked the door and said, "Get upstairs," following behind me. "The police are 5 minutes out," my grandma said, still crying. All of us looking out the window, the shadows started disappearing one by one. The light was still bright from the woods. Not even 3 minutes later, we heard police sirens. The cops speaking to my grandparents. My grandfather explaining when he was out back after firing a shot in the air, He heard rustling in the woods, then murmuring of some kind. He came back inside after seeing outlines of people peering from the woods. I mentioned what my brother and I heard earlier in the day, also letting the police know it was about 6 people. After taking statements, my grandfather pointed out the light coming from the woods. 3 police officers went out to see what it was. When they came back after about 30 minutes, they said it didn't look like anyone was around anymore. They found a fire, explaining it looked to be a ritual of some sort. They also found some odd markings on the trees, along with blood over the markings, and by far the most disturbing thing they found was a goat's head stuck in a pole in the middle of the fire. We were in shock. My brother, terrified, asked, "What if they come back?" The officer said, "Don't worry. We have a team coming out to remove everything. In the meantime, we will have 2 cars stationed on the property. They won't be coming back." By the time everything was said and done, it was morning. None of us slept. The rest of the summer came and went with no incidents. We only went back on the trail when our grandparents were with us, always feeling weary of the area. This experience pushed my grandparents to sell the property. I got to say I'm relieved they did.